All right, you ready to fire off again?
I'm ready to
All right,
ride.
Wesley, Bryan, welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. I don't know. I want to say show. It's not a show, but it's 6 a.m., so my thoughts are still gathering. How you doing, man?
Oh, you're West Coast, aren't you? You're West
Yeah,
Coast Canada.
yeah.
Yeah, I moved it up an hour. Sorry for that,
Oh,
but
you're good, dude.
I'm
How
going.
you
I'm
doing?
going to the golf course for the first time in who knows how long. So it's going to be a pretty exciting time.
Couple weeks off after the RSM.
Yep. I yeah, I don't think I've really touched a golf club since then.
Is that like that to me is like so? How long has that been now? 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
No, it's just I think it was just last week. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, but it feels like yeah, I feel like it was just a week off last week.
Because you've pretty much been going like whether you've been playing on tour or filming content. It's been give me like an estimation of how many weeks it's been since you've taken a week off last. Feel like it's
Oh,
probably
I
been a
mean,
hot minute.
yeah, it definitely hasn't been this year or since February, but
So
I
crazy.
mean, it's been a brutal grind of one. I think that the tougher part's not actually doing it and playing the golf and doing all the travel. The toughest part is like trying to like figure out how to schedule it all. It's not the
Yeah.
doing it. It's like trying to put all the pieces of this puzzle together. And we've accomplished pretty much an impossible task this year, but it's been awesome.
Does your whole family travel with you when you go on tour?
Our oldest just got to real school this year. She's in kindergarten at an elementary school, and so she it's tough to travel with the three kids, and then having her miss a lot of school. So they would come probably like once every 4 weeks on the tour stuff. They still haven't traveled to a YouTube shoot yet.
Yeah, that's fair. But what about the fun ones like the Bermuda and stuff like that? You don't bring them with you?
Yeah, we had them all at Bermuda. I'll tell you the family favorite is the John Deere Classic. That's a tournament that until Father Time tells me I can't play golf anymore, or my golf game is in a spot where it can't compete. That's a golf course and a tournament that is I love it. I love everything about it. It's a good family one. They have some fun events around the event around the golf, and so that's one they've gone to or they go to every year. And I don't know, wait, the ones in and around South Carolina, like everybody was at Myrtle Beach this year, which was really special. So
Huh.
they travel a decent amount.
Is that I want to start there because that's obviously something that's been crazy the last couple of weeks. I mean, I like knew where you were before, but like all the made cuts, you were talking about it in videos, and I'm like, okay, and then started setting yourself up for this like real dramatic ending to the season that like I didn't really catch on to until the end. And then I was like, oh my goodness, like what is going on? I
Yeah.
made like three Wesley Bryan videos in a row. Like I was like so invested in this story. It was so cool. So talk me through just like those last like 5 weeks on tour making the cuts, coming down to that last week, and then also where you're at for next year now with with the card obtained, or at least a conditional card, and what all that means.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much in the same spot I was last year. I was a conditional tour member for the, I don't know, eighth straight year or whatever it's going to be. And so I'll dabble, I'll play a little bit. Don't really know what the schedule is going to look like. I want to have a little bit more of a plan in place for next year and try and whether it be sponsors invites or tournaments that I know that I should get in on my number. I want somewhat of a plan going into it and try and stick to it as best as possible. Whereas this past year, when I finished second down in Dominican and I started getting into basically everything, it was like just flying by the seat of the pants. So like to get a plan in place as far as how this fall went. I knew all summer, like really my golf game has been in a fantastic spot since, I mean, I was missing a lot of cuts with what I felt like was a game in the past that would be good enough to compete and contend every single week. And just trying, again, it's like the same sports stupid cliches of like staying patient and get wrapped up in the process and don't worry about the results and all that. But I was just looking at it as like, dude, I'm playing some of the best golf that I've ever played in my career, and I don't have anything to show for it right now. I know eventually it's gonna come, and I didn't think that it was gonna come like in a flurry at the end of the year like it did this fall, but I knew that there was some decent golf ahead. And looking back at it now, there's if I had just finished one shot better in any event in the fall, I would have retained my full card, or if I'd not been a complete doofus and made the cut in Sea Island and had a just a reasonable weekend, would have kept a card there. But again, I feel like it played out. It played out good where I don't have to make really tough decisions next year of being full time PGA Tour, and I mean full time YouTube is going to happen regardless. So it almost like kind of bails me out in a sense next year scheduling wise.
Can you explain to people what the end of the season, the 125, the 150, the difference is and where you were slash could have been type thing?
Yeah, so top 125, if I'd finished that, I'd been a full tour member. I would have gotten in every single tournament. Well, the PGA Tour B team, so the
Yeah.
non-elevated events. Uh, I still wouldn't have seen Scotty Scheffler or Xander Schauffele at any point other than the Players Championship, which that's one tournament you do get in. But I would have seen all your usual suspects that kind of crowd the middle of the leaderboards. Um, but I would have been in every single tournament and been just a full tour member. Now, again, where I'm at, I finished at 128, I think. They have a category from 126 to 150 that is just like a conditional category. And this is the first time I've been in that category in a long time. I've been playing out of the category that goes below that. So I should get a few more opportunities early to play, and then after and midway through the season at some point they kind of blend that whole which is new as of this year, which is the reason I got into a lot more tournaments, is because they blend that 126 to 150 and past champions and all those other categories. So it's confusing for even me as a guy that's like wrapped up and invested in anything and everything PGA Tour. And if it's impossible for me to understand it, there ain't no way the general population can understand it. So me trying to explain it to you for your people to listen is pretty much it's a useless topic we're discussing.
It's interesting. I mean, I think for me trying to figure it out, I remember the first like video I made, I was like, all right, I think he has to do this and to do this to get this. Like I was like doing math in my head that I
And
just
you
wasn't
would say, Nate,
understanding.
you would say that you're pretty entrenched in the game of golf, right? Like if anybody should understand it, it should be you.
Well, I would say I'm very entrenched on the YouTube side of it, and I
Well, right,
love
that's
and I
golf.
watch a lot of pro golf, but I
That's
don't.
golf.
Yeah, for sure. I'm entrenched in golf, but I also, like you said, I watched a lot of the signature events and the majors and stuff like that. I definitely don't understand the even like George like trying to follow his Q school journey. I'm always so confused. They're like he qualified. I'm like that's awesome, and then they're like, but there's four more stages to go, and I'm
Yeah,
like, what does that mean? How does this
yeah.
work? Like,
George is
what is he
currently at second.
qualifying for? I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, he's currently at second stage right now. First round is
Oh,
tomorrow, and I think it's like probably top 18 in ties will make it to final stage. If he finishes in the top, let's say 20 this week,
yeah.
then he goes to final stage, which is guarantees him at least a conditional Corn Ferry card
Okay.
and a chance at a PGA Tour card. So he finishes top five PGA Tour, next 40 Corn Ferry Tour, and then after that, it's just same conditional to where if he doesn't, if he's got to finish, let's just say top 60 at final stage to even get any starts on the Corn Ferry Tour. So
I gotcha.
there's that dumb down for you.
Okay, interesting. Appreciate it. So what was the motivation like for you when you started to realize you were on the cusp of that 125? Like, were you actually like, I really want this? Or because you guys also have had the most explosive year on YouTube that I've ever seen from you guys. Granted, I've only been in the space for, a little over 3 years, but I would assume it's one of the more explosive years you guys have ever had. We'll talk about that in a second, the YouTube side of things, but did that impact your motivation to like get back full time?
I mean, not really, because I feel like it was midway through the year, even after I was in, let's say, in a good spot after I finished second and was inside the top 125 comfortably, and then played out like basically in the middle of the summer. Once I really got cooking on the PGA Tour side, we things really ramped up on the content side. I realized I was in the middle of a like unsustainable business model that I was in.
Yeah.
And I was really at peace all year, making the decision of stepping away, of playing full time chasing like everything that I do and the things that shape and mold my days to playing competitive golf, which I still will do that. Or I'll try to the best of my ability to juggle both. But my main focus is on the YouTube thing. And again, the reason I play the game of golf is because I love it. I like the people that it intertwines into my life. And again, I've been at in such a good spot with all the filming and all the buddies that we've made through that, spending a lot more time with my brother, and knowing that that avenue of producing one video a week, and it only takes one day to film one video, knowing that my work week could just look like a couple days versus 7 days on the traveling side for tour stuff. And I absolutely have a passion to compete. So I will continue to play in competitive golf tournaments until the cows come home. But as far as trying to play 25 to 30 events and jockey for position on a FedEx Cup list is not something that I really want to do. Now, if I have the opportunities to play, I'll take advantage of those when it works with the content schedule. And if I play well and find myself in a position at the end of the year where I can make a run at something special, then yeah, I'll absolutely do that. But to just try and make an impact in the next generation, and grow the game of golf as a whole. I feel like the better opportunity for that is through YouTube and content creation than PGA Tour. Unless you were to promise me that I was going to be a top 5 player in the world, and I think those voices are heard in the game of golf. But when you start looking at your Grant Horvats and Bob Does Sports and Rick Shields and Peter Finch and
Right,
us,
right.
like yes, like all like these are the voices I feel like in the game of golf right now that are kind of like shaping not only like what people think about the game, but also their consumer habits and their like where they go to watch the game, their purchasing habits, and so like I feel like the best opportunity for us and to make an impact is through YouTube.
Crazy, man. It's crazy to see the growth of the space, but it's also, I mean, the growth of you guys. Like, you guys have been doing this for a long time, but like, you are literally right now. I always kind of put Bryson on like a slightly different shelf than the
He
rest of
doesn't
YouTube,
count.
just
He
because,
wins major championships. He's known for
yeah, it's
Donald
tough.
Trump and Tom Brady, and he's in a Mr. Beast video this past week. Like it, he doesn't count. He's a unicorn. He
Yeah.
doesn't exist. He's the
So
great white buffalo.
I appreciate you saying that because I say it all the time, and then people are like, "Well, he's still a YouTuber." I'm like, "Yeah, but doesn't count." Next, like next him, it is Grant and it's you guys right now.
We
Absolutely insane to see the growth that you guys had. How does that feel? Like that is crazy.
Well, that it's I mean it's great to hear that over the last 28 days, but you and I both know that you can't recreate the $100,000 skids game on a consistent basis,
Yeah, but
or can you? I don't know.
I mean also like there were what 4 or 5 other channels there all getting collaborative content as well. Like it's not like you guys got the
Yeah,
only video from that. Like it is you got I with how entrenched I am in this, I can see trends, I can see waves, I engage with the community, I think a lot more than other people, and I can see where people's like loyalties lie. And like I'm telling you right now, like it's Grant and then it's you guys in terms of popularity on YouTube right now and at the top of the momentum wave.
well, Nate, you think you're entrenched. I don't think there's anybody that reads more comments and engages more than George Bryan himself. I
It's
mean,
very
that guy
true.
is truly is number one in the game. If
Bro,
he's not
bro.
going to be the best player, if he's not going to have the biggest channel, the most views, I promise he will read the most comments.
I will send you the screenshot after this. I took a screenshot the other day. There's this new feature in the YouTube Studio app where when you click on the community tab and you scroll down below the comments, it says you're most engaged with like commenters, like who's commented on your channel the most. And ranked number one, the most commented on my channel is Brian Bros.
Is it Brian Bros TV or is it Brian Bros?
Brian Bros. And then Brian Bros TV is like third. So he's beating you.
Okay. Well, Brian Bros TV is my YouTube
I know,
login.
I know, I know. I know that one's you, and I know the other one's George, but Brian Rose is literally the most that has the most comments on my channel of like
Yeah.
compared not even just against other YouTube like big YouTube channels, but against any faceless scrub. There's been more
Yeah,
comments
no,
than George.
that's what we do. And again, that's part of like the reason we like it. And this isn't like a plug for our Discord
Yeah, yeah,
whatsoever,
yeah.
but the community that we've built in Discord like is completely different. Like it
Yeah.
truly is like a huge family that we've connected with, and we now had a couple of events that are like let's just call it Discord only. Things that we've done like our Brian Bros invitationals, and we keep up with those guys. And there's like a lot of like even within our Discord, a lot of really close friendships that have been built just from people that followed us that got to know each other, and now they have like their own little posses that they run in like in real life, not just like these aren't like online friendships. Like these are people that only have 2 weeks of vacation and they're using 1 week of it to go see their online friends from the Bryan Bros Discord. And so like that's been really special. And again, like we want to like we listen. We 100% listen. If people don't like the way some things are going or videos that we're doing or how we're acting or me throwing clubs or what, like we absolutely listen. So yeah, we appreciate that. And not saying that nobody else does it. I'm just saying with 100% confidence that nobody does it to the level at which we do it.
Yeah, well, I think there's a maturity thing too. Like you guys are grown men, you have families. Like I think you probably look at YouTube in a slightly different way from a business standpoint, from like a consumer satisfaction standpoint. You probably have less ego in it than a lot of younger creators. Like I know personally, like coming up in YouTube over the last like 6, 7 years, it's like I've even seen a shift in myself of like, I know everything. I'm right. I'm the creator. I know what's right to like, no, like if your audience tells you to like, slow down or to do this and you see these things reoccurring, it's like it's not just like people like crap talking you. It's like some of those things are actually like valuable pieces of information. Like humble yourself a little bit and listen to them.
Right. And like I've gotten into more Mr. Beast whole, but as far as like someone who's actually like studied everything that's gone on and talk, like I just, when he talks about anything, whether it be from the business side or how he puts his videos together, like I find all the Mr. Beast interviews, like the Colin and Samir one, that they did, with Good.
Hmm.
Like I'll watch those, a lot of those, like how people like basically piece the whole thing together.
Hmm.
And again, I watch basically every YouTube golf video from the time the video starts till they hit the first tee shot, just to see
Hmm.
like what like trends and what people like, and then I'll go and read the top, let's say like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 like most engaged comments or most liked or most commented on, and like just hear what people are arguing about or see what people are talking about, and whether or not I'll skim through to see like hurry up and get to the golf. Like we just did a
Hmm.
tour vlog, and none of our tour vlogs do well. To be fair, this past one we put out, I thought was going to do a little better. Given George and I both played in the event, I
Hmm.
shot a course record on Saturday, but
Hmm.
again, it took 15 minutes for us to get to golf. But we also, when we're piecing things together, we don't necessarily care about what is going to get the most clicks. Like if we just wanted to get the most clicks, we could have pieced it together wildly different.
Hmm.
But we wanted to tell a bigger story and put
Hmm.
out like what we're doing that I feel like separates us from the rest is the ability to like play the game at a high level.
Hmm.
And so like telling that tour side, it's important to our story. It's definitely not good for the YouTube algorithm, because we know that I mean I'm literally gonna have to win the Masters and us have every shot on YouTube for a video to do well from the
Yeah.
tour side.
Yeah.
Um, and so, and we know that, but we still do it. We love it because
Yeah.
we're passionate about it, and we want to see, like the PGA Tour is what's given us an unbelievable opportunity at this point, or me at this point, to provide for my family. And again, I grew up watching it, so us being able to tell a piece of the PGA Tour story, through the content, we really enjoy, even knowing what we know about how the videos are going to perform.
For sure. I mean, I think there's part of it too where it's like, a two for them, a one for you, like keeping DNA identity of the channel. And I totally agree with you that for you guys, it is that like separator of like you play at this high level that nobody else does. And like that's why I watch you guys. Like I don't watch you guys because you're Wesley and George. I watch you because you're Wesley and George, your personalities, but paired with the fact that you both are PGA Tour players ish. And, yeah, well, you are, and then George kind of is. And, those two things together, whether it be you actually playing on tour or just the fact that when you guys play 1v1s, I know I'm watching golf that I aspire to.
Yep.
Like,
And that you brought up a good point there, because the big surge, and like yes, we differentiate ourselves from the other YouTube creators there, but the biggest surge in YouTube golf is because whether it's Busta Jack, who they're very good players in their own right, or even like your Garrett Clarks and Grant Horvats, like they're very good players in their own rights. But those guys, like they never have a chance in a million years to play the game professionally,
mhm,
but they still play a brand of golf that 97.9% of their audience will never obtain in their 20, 30, 40 year golfing journey.
mhm,
So even you, Nate, like I've watched plenty of your vlogs, and like you play a brand of golf that most people just can't play. So they're going to gravitate and watch. And that's the same reason they're watching the PGA Tour is because, like, yes, they like watching the best players in the world play, but at the end of the day, there's still hundreds of thousands of people that tune in every week to opposite field tour events or Corn Ferry events or LPGA or Champions Tour events that aren't like the best player, like the best physically gifted players of the game of golf. They're just playing a brand of golf that they'll never be able to play. So, like it doesn't matter. Now, again, a lot of people can play like Bob or Joey, but they
Mhm.
can't. But the reason they watch Bob and Joey is because that's their dream foursome. Their dream foursome is going to be
Mhm.
FB, Bob, and Joey, and throw
Mhm.
themselves. So,
Mhm.
um, and I again, I don't know a lot. I just know that we're just going to continue to put out YouTube videos and until people stop watching them. But I love the space. I'm like you. I'm a total nerd. I love it. I enjoy it, and it's been a heck of a ride so far.
I think maintaining your value prop is important though, to like double back, like having the tour videos, competitive videos, because like you could do what Grant does. And what Grant does is Grant only puts out videos that he is confident will be one attempts. And you're not always going to be right, but like that's one way to go about it, right? Like if you guys waited and you only uploaded, like right now where YouTube's at, and I'd love to get your perspective on this, is like essentially you have to travel for every video, you have to collab for every video, and it has to be someone you either haven't collabed with or is like huge in or outside of the space in order to get like a top tier video. Because right now there are 5, 6 creators that upload hour and a half long videos every 3 days and then not on the same 3 days. So there's like 14, 15 hours of high quality content a week right now. And so in order to differentiate, like that's literally what you have to do. And like that's why like your $100,000 skins game, that was the best video that week. But that is so hard to do right now on YouTube. Like, and like I
Yeah.
said, it has to be all those things. Like, and that's why people like Bryson have such an advantage because he can go and film with Tom Brady, Donald Trump, John Daly, and like that's just a cheat code. That's going to be the biggest video by a lot of metrics that week. What is that process been like from, you have your DNA content, you have a lot of what your core audience loves, which is the more competitive, the tour style stuff. Like I know you say they don't do well. Those are the videos of yours that I don't miss. But at the same time, you obviously have to, it's a business and you want to do the videos that do well. They're fun, they're collab based. But like, what has that shift been like to be like, all right, George, like if we really want, a top three this week, like we got to go travel to who knows where and do what and do all these things for one video too. You can't just
Yeah.
travel now, film 4 videos in one week and release them. Because then by the time the second, third video comes out, it's stale. You need like literally a new video, like one video per trip now. It's like the new standard.
Yeah, I mean, we again, that's been the cool part about the major cut thing that we started like when we were birthing that concept and was like, hey, we got to do this, and the plan is to upload one a month. And again, we know at this point that those videos are going to do well. One, I want to do it personally. I want to travel to these golf courses and try and compete against a cut line, and do it with my two best buds. So like just from the overall concept, whether or not we're going to film it or not film it, like that's something that I would do regardless. But again, we that concept, knowing that we're going to have one of those a month dropping from a different location, um, is enough to kind of like, if you want to say it, like sustain some sort of like pattern of growth or a series that I don't feel like is ever really going to lose its juice. Because we have so many golf courses still on the list to go play, and we have so many, um, like there's we just have a few things that we're working on like around the major cut stuff that again, I if it doesn't get boring for us to go and film it, it's probably not going to get boring for the person to go and watch it. So the how it gets stale is when you can tell, and you can absolutely tell when people are locked in, when they're not locked in, when they're having a good time, when they're not having a good time. As long as you're doing what you love and being 100% yourself, then I think that's what ultimately carries it like long term. But like yes, in the short term, it's hard to for us. We upload once a week, and to have 4 bangers a month is it's impossible. Like we can't do that, because eventually you're going to run out of, like you said, places to go, people to film with. Like so there's only so many times where you can have like the most, the best, the craziest, the wildest, um, you know, like all those clicky type things and all the clicky type places. Um, but again, with a major cut, I feel like for us, just getting one very high quality video a month is kind of our overall plan.
Give me a little bit about you when you're doing that, when you're traveling, when you're filming these videos and YouTube being, I don't want to speak for you, but whether it, like some weeks it is your focus, maybe some weeks it isn't. But throughout that whole process, whether it's your focus that week or the tours your focus that week, when you're trying to play golf at the highest level, like you definitely give off this energy on camera that you're like that you don't take it as seriously as I'm assuming you probably do, like you're jovial about it, you're lighthearted, like whatever. You say you're going into the PGA Tour, from this filming thing and you're this is the last time you're gonna play golf before it. Like I think when a lot of people imagine PGA Tour golfers, you're like, all right, you wake up at 6 a.m., you do your polar plunge, you go and you practice for 4 hours, you come back, you have lunch, you get an oxygen tank, and you go play again. Like that whole very, TB12 professional athlete lifestyle you give off to me. And again, I want you to prove me wrong if that's the case, but like, or like tell me if I'm wrong, but like you give off to me this like there's like a story of John Daly, like after a round sitting and like having beers, and Tiger comes in off the range after like 3 hours in the dark, and John's like, "Hey, have a beer with me." And Tiger has that quote where it's like, "John, if I had your talent, like I would never need to practice," or something like that. Where do you fall in that spectrum? Because I feel like you are an enigma for sure, talent wise, but like you also don't seem like the guy that's on the range grinding, 6 hours a day.
Yeah, there was a point in time in my life where I did the whole TB12 thing where
Yeah.
I was very regimented. I had it basically was a 6 day a week thing. I'd take Sundays off and off weeks. And I would start at the same time. I would have my morning practice routine. I would have my lunch. I would go and play or clean up, like do something competitive based with buddies, whether it be within practice or on the golf course. And again, I ran my body into the ground. I pretty much ran my mental into the ground, trying to perform and get better and do all that because we didn't have we started the trick shot stuff, like that was fun. Caught lightning in the bottle really quick, and then right from there, I got on tour right away, and so that's where I went to like basically just full time what I've done my whole life. I've always been a hard worker, and then over the last couple years, like with the YouTube side picking up, like that, it's absolutely taken a sacrifice. With now having 3 kids, like the practice schedule has absolutely we've had to sacrifice time there. So now the spot I'm in over the last 2 years, I would say I've barely even touched a piece of gym equipment. I mean, I've been to the gym maybe like and actually like worked out to the point where I broke a sweat probably 6 times in 2 years. I eat terrible. I play golf recreationally, maybe once a month, like everybody else. And I've probably had 8 practice sessions this year. But that's my schedule this year. So it's been a lot. And yes, I truly just play the game because I love it. I don't play it because I want to be the best player in the world anymore. I had that goal 6, 7, 8 years ago, and then after a couple surgeries and a few kids, I came to the realization probably not going to be the best player in the world at any point in my life. So I'm just going to play for the love of the game, and that's what I do.
What were the surgeries?
I had shoulder surgery my at the end of my second year on tour, and then had wrist surgery my fourth year, and was out for a long time. Like both those were major, and then my golf game really sucked after that. So again, as much as I wanted to practice and try and be
Yeah.
great, it wasn't in the deck of cards for me.
Were they on the lead arm, like your left arm?
Left, yeah, it's just my whole left side, and I've
Yeah.
had left knee surgery. I mean, something on the left side of my body is going to give out this year, and we're
Yeah.
going to have to break from YouTube, and that's going to be a shame. But at some point, it's going to happen.
Yeah. That's just my nerdy. Like I came from a physio fitness background, so I'm just curious. But I've noticed I have to voodoo floss my entire left side of my body before I practice because I notice like I'll get my left elbow or my left knee, my left ankle. So as long as I do that, it's been okay. But yeah, it's weird. It's a weird unilateral thing. But anyways, I think it's interesting to see because you definitely have now this like position with YouTube where I feel like a lot of the pressure on the pro golf side is probably taken off. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like I feel like a lot of other guys in your position who don't have the public figureness, which obviously, yeah, you did. You were a full-time tour player. You did win on tour, but I don't think it's unsafe to say that your level of being a public figure is right now very much because of the Bryan Bros versus the pro
Like
golf scene.
99% of it.
Yes.
I don't
But
get any like, oh my gosh, I loved watching you at Harbortown in 2000, whatever year that was.
17. Yeah.
2017.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, I assume that. But so having that, it also comes with obviously, there you go. Oh boy. Look, I was right.
2017.
There we go. There we go. It comes with the ability to like
Yeah, either that
basically
trophy's gotten heavier or I've not been working out. One of the two.
I think you've known the Lord out. It comes with the ability to not have those same pressures. Like pro golf is a grind, even in the position you'd be in. I mean, the position you're in this year probably a little different, but maybe say the last like 5 years without Bryan Bros. Like the level of being able to fall back on the content. Like how many guys on tour are just like straight up jealous of you right now and like coming up to you and be like, man, I wish I could do what you're doing. Because I feel like it's like just a better way to live your life, being able to be as chill as you are and not have to be so mentally grinded on tour.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would say pretty much everybody knows what's going on,
Yeah.
and jealous isn't the right word. They're probably confused. They're like, now how does this happen?
Yeah.
And again, we got really lucky. We were fortunate, but then again, George is like a George. I feel like George saw this coming from like way before, like when we started the trick shot stuff. Like he saw it all coming. I screwed up the plan when I got on tour, but he
Yeah.
kind of saw the whole thing unfolding, and he was like, "Hey, there's a way to really build a business around just having a good time and uploading content." And again, there was only a couple people in the space at that point. Like I think Rick Shields and Peter Finch were, and me and my golf were the only one.
Wesley just left Zoom, just disconnected. I think he just ended it. This should be funny.
That's on me. That's on me.
Internet
But
company, eh? Internet
it,
company. Guy runs an internet company. Disconnects
I,
from you mid-interview.
no, I tried to ignore a phone call and I fat fingered it and pushed hang up on this call.
All right, I think it's still recording. We're good.
Yeah, but what I was saying is there was only a few people doing it, and George had the wherewithal to try and build a business around it. Again, my playing plans or playing whatever ended up happening got in the way of it, and now I feel like we're back on course.
I think you guys are, where are you at right now? Do you know the exact subscriber count? Because you guys are approaching on 500, and I know you don't think it's going to happen this year in George,
You
but
know, no. I said that I think that
you're
it
looking
could
at.
happen this year when we started planning out the skins game,
Well, I
and
also texted you that at the beginning of the year. You remember that? I texted you that in like February or March. Said you guys are going to hit 500,000 this year. And you were at like, what, 280 maybe?
I don't I know that I think we're going to hit it by the end of the year as
Yeah.
long as it, but then again we don't really have any content planned or anything in the hopper to grow. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely going to be close because I think we might take a month off of major cut this month and pick
Okay.
it back up in season 2 in January, but we might, I don't know, we're still trying to figure out if we can pull it off on short notice, but and again, I knew that we were going to make a big bump with Beth Page major cut and with the skins game all coming out, and then the us playing in the tour event in Bermuda. I knew that that was going to give us a nice little push, but yeah, I think it's going to be close. Again, if we hit 500K by the end of the year, that would be amazing. If we don't, we'll probably still continue to turn out YouTube videos
You won't
until we
retire.
do.
Not quite worth quitting for. Yeah. Do you guys have any like other than like a subscriber number? Do you have any like goals with YouTube right now?
No, I mean we don't even really have subscriber number goals. Like it'd be cool to
Yeah.
like hit those big milestones.
Vanity metrics.
Yeah, but I mean the goals are just to keep putting out stuff that people like and engage with, and again, like there's it's more of just us doing what we want to do and filming with who we want to film with. And again, there's guys like we're going to film more with John Rahm over the next few months, and again, that's going to be a trip that's going to be awesome. He loves it. He might love it more than we love it.
Mhm.
So we're going to do some stuff with him, and then again, just keep cranking the major cuts, and where everything else falls in line. Like there's other things that we're working on right now, but again, I think the focus in 2025 is the number one focus is going to be major cut, and there's a couple tour guys that we want to film with that I think it's looking pretty likely for us to be able to do some form of competitive golf on the internet. And then again, probably shift a lot of our focus towards building out some businesses and like doing the stuff that nobody really cares to hear about.
Mhm, mhm.
They
You
just
guys
care
got
about
to
content stuff.
you guys got to be the first to get Scotty on in some like playing capacity. That would be the first
Yeah,
person who does that is it's gonna be incredible.
I mean he's such an awesome dude too. Like off off camp, like just real life, one of the more genuine good dudes that exists. Now it happens to be that he's the best player that over the last 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's as genuine of a human as you'll ever find.
Are you gonna get on Phil and Grant's series? Are you gonna challenge them with someone? Not Scotty,
Yeah,
obviously, but that would not be
yeah,
fair.
yeah. I mean that one's coming. We had a pretty spicy group thread going.
Okay.
Uh, while actually while I was hanging Christmas lights last
Yeah, yeah.
week, and Phil was on one, and Grant called me in the middle of the text that he was, dude, I cannot believe some of the things that you're saying to this guy, and he couldn't believe what Phil was saying to me, and that was it got spicy. Yes, that's absolutely coming.
Dude, that's awesome. I love the clip. Like that's what I mean, where I'm just like, you guys are killing it right now. Like your level of like relevance penetration of like you were the name that they both said in that promo when they're like, who's our least favorite golfer? Wesley Bryan. Like that just like you guys are in the zeitgeist right now. And it's crazy cool to see. With that being said, what are your predictions? Last question, then I'll let you go. What are your predictions for YouTube golf going forward? Because there's a lot of chatter right now of how oversaturated it is, how, it does feel like I almost posted a story the other day, but I didn't want to because it was a little it may have been conceived a little negative against Rick, but it wasn't a shot at Rick. But when he uploaded that birdie video, and I don't think it's like overperforming for him right now. I literally wanted to like post a screenshot and be like, YouTube golf is the exact same right now. Like the thumbnails all look the same. The idea is it's either a break 50, it's either can we birdie every hole video, like it's always the same collabs, like different people, but like it all feels so cyclical. So it does feel oversaturated at times. And like, the first to post, you guys were the first one to post that big group collab, obviously killed it. But Rick's video was like the ninth one to come out from that. It's like, okay, we've seen it by now.
Yeah,
So give me a thought for how this moves forward and where does this all go? Because it definitely can't just keep doing the same thing it's doing right now forever.
yeah. I mean the oversaturation, it absolutely is happening. Like there's just a lot of and there's a lot of really good content creators. It's like it's a good problem to have. Like overall, the space is growing. Like it's probably not growing as fast as it was 8, 12 months ago, but the space is absolutely still growing. But I think what you're going to see is people are now at the point where they have so many options, and they're kind of figuring out which lane they want to go to devote the most of their time. And so the good ones are going to continue to grow and rise. I don't think the staleness or the oversaturation is going to have a huge effect on the ones that are putting out the best content or the ones that are most entertaining.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like your Bob Does Sports, like they've kind of like plateaued and grow, or like they're not growing as fast as they were, but
Mhm.
they've basically gotten to their sweet spot of their core audience,
Mhm.
and everything they put out is because it's so highly entertaining
Mhm.
that they've built their core group, and that thing is it's just going to slowly continue to creep. They're not going to have like the huge spike, I don't think, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Grant, I mean, he's again also like a unicorn, kind of like
Mhm.
Bryson, where I think he's the one that's like figured out the whole YouTube. And again, it just happens to be under the golf umbrella, but a guy that's figured out the whole YouTube side of things and just being able to hold and retain and grow and basically just be like a full blown YouTuber, like a Logan and Jake Paul, or
Mhm.
I don't know, a Speed or Mr. Beast or whatever, like these people that have grown this YouTube thing of just being YouTubers. I think he's got that pretty well figured out. And so I don't think that those are guys for me that I see that the oversaturation, I don't think it will really affect them. Again, I don't know where George and I lay. We're just going to continue to do what we've been doing and do what we want to do. I think that at some point there's going to be a lot of these channels, like people that have quit their jobs and doing it full time, and their views are declining, like because again, it got stale, or people just latched on more to Grant Horvat or latched on more to Bob Does Sports, and that's where they're going. Like they're just not going to be able to. You're going to be able to tell that it's like a side gig instead of a full time job, and they're going to fizzle out. And again, I think in the space there's still absolutely an opportunity for like a few kids like under the age of 16 or 15, 16 that do the golf stuff that could blow up, be like a little, I don't know, Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or whatever, like kids that can kind of carry on. Like there's still room in the space for that. But again, as far as where it's going, I don't really know where it's going. I know at some point all of us are going to have to come together and like talk about and forecast out and like just be more, like have a little more communication and plan out what we're doing and upload schedules and all that stuff. Again, would it help? Probably, but will it happen? Probably not.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's so weird because it feels like you guys are all attached because of this golf umbrella, but like nowhere else in YouTube would that even be a conversation. Like none of the top creators are like agreeing on upload schedules. It's like you might be
Right.
friends with them, but it's like you're just doing your own thing. And so I'm a big believer cream rises to the top, like no matter how oversaturated it feels. Like if you're making like the skins game is the perfect example. Like that was uploaded in the midst of the most crowded time we've ever had on YouTube Golf, and it pulls so far ahead and gets 2.3 million views because it was a genuine first to concept idea. It was the first of that collab. Like it had all of those things. So, and that's just the way it's going to work with channels too. It's just going to be a squeezing out where there's going to be a new A list of channels where it's going to be like a 4 to 5 list of channels that pull above 300,000 views, and then there's going to be a B list of a bunch of channels that get between 50 to you know maybe 200,000 views regularly. And so it's just like, which is fine. That's a fine place.
Yeah.
I'd love to be there, but like, there's going to be, it's going to separate like that, in my opinion. Whereas right now, there's a lot of people kind of battling on the same level. But
Yeah.
favorite non-YouTube golf channel? I know I said last question, but you said YouTube too many times.
Favorite non-YouTube golf channel.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I go on runs. I mean, I still think Mr. Beast is my all-time favorite. I've just gotten wrapped up in that over
Yeah.
a lot of years. And again, the trashy stuff, like I still will sit and giggle. Like Danny Duncan, like
I knew you were
cracks
going to
me
say that.
up. Like he just cracks me up.
Yeah.
And I can't, I hate that I get stuck watching those videos. But again, there's some things that he and I share now, not all, definitely not all, but some of very, very similar humor. Very similar.
You got to play a Bryan Bros video in a Virginity Rocks t-shirt. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah. See, again, there's going to never be a chance to collaborate on anything brand wise. But then, Dude Perfect just put out another stereotypes video. Dude Perfect's one of my all time favorites
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
very
yeah.
beginning. And then I don't know. You haven't given enough. You haven't mentioned it once.
Mhm.
I think my new favorite golf YouTube channel is the ATL Swing King that George just went and filmed with, or they put a video out this past week. Those guys are a daggum riot.
Okay. All right. I'll
You
look
need,
into
you need
it.
to check it out. We
I
put it on our
will.
community page. I'm surprised you hadn't stumbled across them
Yeah,
yet.
no, I haven't.
But
ATL. Okay. All right.
ATL Swing King, this guy is just top tier entertainment.
Okay. All right.
Top tier.
I like it.
He's
I
got
like
he's got his Whoop 'em Wednesday series, and
it.
George partook in it. They came to Aiken.
That's awesome, dude. All right, man. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on the interview. Appreciate it. Best of luck for the rest of the
Absolutely.
year.
Thanks, Nate.